City of Johannesburg has recently enacted a new bylaw designed to regulate the use of CCTV cameras throughout the city. While the stated aim is to enhance public safety by providing a framework for the registration and regulation of these cameras, the new legislation has ignited a heated debate. Concerns have been raised over the implications for privacy as well as the handling of sensitive footage. Central to the discussion is the confidentiality of CCTV recordings, particularly those capturing public spaces. To shed light on this, on the practical implications of these new bylaws, we are now joined this morning by Ricky Croock, who is the CEO of Vumacam, a company at the forefront of a CCTV technology deployment in the city of Johannesburg. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning, Ricky. What's the bone of contention? You have been looking throughout the issues that have been raised, and I'm trying to get to what the crux of the matter is and the concerns that you have raised with regards to this new bylaw.
Perfect. Good morning, and thanks for having us. I think the crux of the matter is firstly the process that took place. So the lack of the public participation and the insights into what is trying to be put forward. We've been following this and having discussions with the city back until 2018. So this has been an ongoing process, and through those years we've learned a lot in terms of our journey and being the biggest player in the market in putting this out. But just really around the limitations in crime fighting. So we're all about crime fighting and making sure that we can make South Africa a safer place. And just putting limitations in place in using technology to fight crime. The evolution of security is technology, and we've seen a huge uptick in the way that technology is being used and how we're assisting our partners, both in the private sector and the public sector, and now limiting that and who can have access to it and who gives us authorization to then put up the cameras is very limiting and something that we're gonna challenge.
Okay, let's start off with this one. No data or information collected through a CCTV camera shall be disclosed or shared with any person not authorized to have access to such data. Do we know who an authorized person is as per this bylaw?
Unfortunately, we don't. So we've put in comments, when the bylaw, came out. And to date, we haven't had any feedback. And this is the frustration, is that we're seeking this clarity. So in that, and I think that's where a lot of the unhappiness is that a lot of the stuff is not forthcoming, and no one can actually, tell us who is those parties that could have access to the information and the footage.
Yeah. Ordinarily, what would happen in this particular case, considering that you guys are a company that also assists with crime fighting, and considering, I think in one of the reports, it's the News 24 report, that you've indicated that there have been around 1,000 arrests that have been affected due to the installation of some of these cameras. Would that then mean that you guys are not considered authorized people?
Well, we don't know yet. So this is the clarity that we're seeking. By our interpretation of the laws and the way that the Act has been written, we would not be authorized parties. So we would then be limited from providing these valuable feeds to the private security companies, as well as municipalities and JMPD, as well as Gauteng province, that are making use and really fighting crime using our technology.
Okay. Residents and businesses alike must register their CCTV cameras that have a view of public space with the City of Johannesburg. And finally, the space with the City of Johannesburg. There's also the issue around the tariffs for this application. What's your understanding around that requirement?
And it's all vague. So, they talk around these tariffs. No one's, given us a tariff sheet, so no one can understand exactly what those costs are involved. When you look at, the Councillor Whistler's comments in the Sunday Times, she makes mention that there's no costs. So there's this constantly conflicting views that are taking place without, clarity that to show us, as well as the ability to say that, no IP addresses would be taken from those private cameras. So like my whole, overview thing is, if it's going to go and be an aid the fight against crime, more data equals more arrests. It's that simple. So, if there's going to be a case of, give us your cameras so that we can access data in the time that we need it for situational awareness and investigations, then I think it's fantastic. But if you're going to say that there's no costs, but there are tariffs, and if you're going to say that, we're not going to take your IP address, then how are you actually going to benefit from those cameras? That this is the frustration that we're finding, around this bylaw.
Yeah. In the statement issued by the Democratic Alliance, they didn't vote in support of this bylaw, including the ACDP. The Democratic Alliance says that this is an attack on personal freedoms, and we will do everything we can to protect Johannesburg from this misguided attempt at government overreach. From your understanding, and I know how difficult it is and the concerns that you've had around the interpretation of the law, does it really attack personal freedoms of individuals?
I think absolutely. I think, firstly, the challenge and listening to the public council sitting, the bylaw was only given to the parties the day before. So there wasn't an ample time for parties to actually study and read through it and understand what those limitations are. And then I think the overreach into regulatory, specifically to the data handling, is not something in my mind, and this is what, we've got advice on, that for the city to regulate. There's national, regulations that are put in place. We understand what those national regulations. We've built our business on compliance and understanding those frameworks, and we feel that this is an overreach into that regulation. All right.
What would you like to see happen now?
We'd like to see them to sit down and, we're not against the bylaw. We think regulation and framework is a good thing. And we've built our business on that. We'd like to just sit and say, right, these are the 5 or 6 limiting impractical factors that have been put in. And, let's work together to get a framework that's practical and achieves both protection of privacy, as well as, not stepping backwards from a security aspect.
Yeah. Did you, as Vumacam, make any submissions? And what were your submissions?
We did.
Yeah, what were your submissions?
We did. So there was 2. So there was the first bylaw actually came out in April of last year. Mm-hmm. Then there was a new bylaw that came out in November. And, there was 2 public participations, which we happened to hear about on the day of it. And we attended. The first one was on the 7th of November, the second one on the 14th. And we were then told on the 14th of November that final comments had to be in by the 19th. We dropped everything as a business, knowing how important this is, and we, submitted our comments by the 19th, which was very, very detailed comments, of which none of our comments were taken in consideration.
All right. Do you know by when this bylaw comes into effect?
Our understanding is that it came into effect last week Friday. So the way that it reads is that when it gets gazetted, then it's effectively been promulgated.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. That is Ricky Croock, who is the CEO of Vumacam, who have reached out to the Public Safety MMC in the City of Johannesburg, Dr. Newzroom, who did say that he will be releasing a statement, and hopefully he'll be joining us later on in the week here on the show.